The tower killed me on floor 1. Then it reset me, so I died again and again, 1,000 times. Now I am walking out the top.
But it began in the trial tower, a dungeon cloaked in myth. Those who entered either conquered it or died eternally. Yet the tower had a secret. It resurrected the fallen, preserving their memories of every fatal mistake. On his first attempt, Kazu barely took 10 steps before a spike trap impaled him. The agony was real, the cold darkness of death, as final as any true end. Then, impossibly, he gasped awake at the entrance, his body intact, but the memory of that steel, tearing his flesh, carved into his mind. He tried again, forcing himself to be cautious, but a hidden boulder dropped from above, crushing his skull before panic even registered.
Twice. I won't fall for the same tricks. I'll use every death to learn.
On his third try, a poison dart whistled through the air and buried itself in his neck. As his vision faded, he spotted a hidden alcove, a glowing scroll of forbidden jutsu pulsing with the promise of power. He woke with the scroll's location, seared into memory. Now he'd die on purpose, mapping traps until he could reach it. 3 more deaths bought him the path. On the 4th run, he reached the alcove and tore the seal open. The scroll held a forbidden body flicker technique, banned for tearing space so violently it could rip the user apart. He channeled chakra along its lines. For an instant, he blinked forward and reappeared inside a stone pillar, crushed. 8 times he died to that jutsu before finding its rhythm. Then he flowed through floor 1's traps like water. Floor 1's golem guardian shattered under his assault. The door to floor 2 opened, leaking killing intent. A red-skinned Oni, twice his height, swung a spiked club. Kazu's body broke. He never saw the blow. He challenged it 17 times. Each death taught him the Oni's rhythms, the weight shift before a lunge, the pause before a roar.
The Oni's power isn't just strength, it's stance. Every motion starts from the earth up.
He dropped into the Oni's own pose, club forgotten, and struck with bare palms. The monster's chest caved in. Beyond the Oni, the 3rd floor twisted reality into a mirror maze. Kazu saw himself die in 100 ways before the illusion crushed his sanity.
These mirrors show my fears. If the body flicker can cut space, can it cut through false images?
He flickered through the glass, shattering each false death. A hidden corpse tumbled from a niche, its fingers clutching a scroll of forbidden flame.
A technique that feeds on the caster's own chakra to ignite the air itself. One slip and I'll burn from the inside.
He tried. Flames erupted from his pores, searing his flesh down to the bone. He died, screaming, but the scroll's forbidden path remained branded in his mind. With each death, the fire bent a little more to his will. By floor 15, he could hurl infernos that melted steel guardians before they swung. On a path littered with skeletons, he found a tattered diary. The ink was faded, but the words stabbed like a blade. The tower. It swallowed my village 80 years past. I die here, over and over, and it only grows. Kazu's fingers tightened. This place wasn't built for his generation. It had been grinding souls long before the first Hokage drew breath.
Who built this? And why do they force us to rise through death? I have to know.
By death 100, Kazu's chakra mutated. The tower's walls pulsed, feeding him energy with each resurrection. His blood-red eyes now bore glowing runes, a death count forever etched into his vision. He saw the flow of forbidden energy, like rivers of poison.
This place is changing me. But if it makes me strong enough to reach the top, I'll let it.
On floor 20, a celestial serpent barred his path. From a fallen shinobi's corpse, he tore a summoning scroll that promised a skeletal steed. The forbidden summoning jutsu devoured his life to animate bone. Each failed attempt killed him. 14 times he crumbled before the serpent.
Every death teaches the summon how to fight. It remembers the serpent's fangs, its coils. Now it's ready.
On the 30th clash, the dragon's skull unleashed a breath of pure oblivion. The serpent disintegrated, and Kazu's soul shattered with the backlash. In the black void between lives, a voice coiled around his mind, the tower itself, whispering in a language older than seals.
You want me to climb, but for what? What waits at the top that needs 1,000 deaths?
He woke at the entrance, but the whispers remained. His chakra had become a permanent tempest. He was no longer just a climber. He was a vessel. Floor 31 plunged him into a hall of mirrors, each reflection a different death he'd suffered. But now they showed his village burning.
These aren't just memories. The tower is pulling fears I didn't know I had.
He attacked the images, but fire jutsu only fed them. The flames in the glass grew, consuming the reflection until it showed a world where he never returned.
A world where I never climb, where everyone dies because I am stuck in this loop. Is that the truth?
A corpse, slumped near the exit, held a scroll of forbidden clone jutsu. The technique split his psyche into fragments that could fight the illusions separately. He trained the shadow clones by letting them die for him. Each clone absorbed a death, learning to resist the tower's mind games.
My clones can face the fear for me. They'll hold the despair while I walk forward.
With an army of fractured selves, he shattered the mirrors floor by floor. Each broken reflection released a scream that was once a climber's trapped soul, but the final mirror showed a vision he couldn't trust. His home, alive, waiting for him. It was too perfect, a lie the tower wanted him to believe. He didn't strike. He simply turned away and walked through the exit, leaving the false hope unbroken. The tower whispered louder, but his clones kept its lies at bay. Floor 51, twisted time itself. Kazu felt his youth drain away with every step.
My body is rotting, but my mind remembers. The tower wants me to die of age to waste my progress.
He collapsed, a withered skeleton, only to wake young again at the entrance. The memory of centuries carved into his psyche, a dead climber's scroll, promised forbidden time reversal, a technique that rewinds personal age at the cost of a soul shard.
Each cast will chip away at my spirit, but without it, I can't survive here.
He died 9 times mastering the jutsu's delicate weave. Each death left a tiny fracture in his core. By floor 70, he could reverse his age on command, but his soul felt like shattered glass, held together by nothing but will.
The tower is teaching me to break the laws of time, but what's the point if I am no longer whole when I reach the top?
He pressed on, the time reversal jutsu now a permanent part of him. A constant low hum draining a piece of his existence with every use. The tower's whispers grew louder, as if feeding on the cracks in his soul. But he had no choice but to keep dying and rising. Floor 71 opened into an endless library. Shelves carved from bone, scrolls murmuring with the voices of the dead. He found the chronicles of a Kage from 3 centuries past, a woman who claimed the tower was no prison, but a forge. She wrote, "The tower takes mortals to temper them into gods. I was not strong enough. The forge broke me."
A forge of gods. So the tower isn't just a trial. It's trying to turn climbers into something more.
Then he found the forbidden scroll of chakra absorption, how to drink the tower's own energy. Its first line demanded a sacrifice.
If I take its power, I become the god it's trying to make. I just need to find the right sacrifice.
He attempted the absorption without preparation, and his body ignited. The tower's chakra tore him apart from the inside.
Not yet. I need a sacrifice that can withstand that torrent, something I value more than my own soul.
The whispers laughed, as if amused by his arrogance. But Kazu now had a new goal. Consume the tower and claim its divinity. He set off deeper, hunting for what the tower guarded most jealously, the key to absorbing it without being consumed. Floor 91. A spectral arena where the souls of fallen climbers fought endlessly. Caught between life and death, they attacked with the desperation of the damned, each one a master of a forgotten style. Kazu died learning their secrets. He resurrected again and again, his clones mirroring the ghost's moves until their styles became his own. One specter stood apart, a swordsman whose blade had carved legends. In his hands, a scroll he never delivered. The scroll read, "My final technique, the swallow's end. Carry it beyond these walls, or my name dies with me." He understood. The tower didn't just trap monsters, it trapped heroes who failed. Their burden now fell to him. The swallow's end demanded a sacrifice of the self. Kazu's first attempt shattered his own heart. He woke again. The technique seared into his soul. His death count now burned. 333. He could not set them free, but he could carry their legacy. The tower's whispers mocked him, but he answered with silence. He turned his back on the spectral arena, the ghosts, moans, a chorus of hope and despair. Now he climbed for the fallen. Floor 121 held no guardian, only a voice that demanded the one thing he still treasured. It echoed in his skull. "Give me your warmest memory, and the path opens."
I have none left, but I'll give the faces I can barely recall. My village, my purpose, take it.
The memory of home unspooled, like thread, and vanished. He felt nothing. No loss, no anger. The boss crumbled as he struck with perfect, dispassionate efficiency. No hesitation, no mercy. He stared at his hands. The scars were there, but not the faces that caused them. His death count reached 400, the number branding his soul. But the reason for climbing was gone.
I climb because I have always climbed. There is only the next floor.
He moved like a flawless weapon. The tower's whispers now just background noise. The tower had its vessel, empty, sharp, and relentless. Floor 151 inverted everything. Gravity pulled sideways, time hiccuped backwards. He died instantly, crushed against a ceiling he never saw. The reset brought only cold analysis.
The laws here are wrong. I must unlearn movement.
On the 50th corpse, he found a scroll, promising to fold space like paper. The technique was forbidden for good reason.
To step between moments, I'll tear myself apart until I don't.
In a blink, space folded. For an instant, he saw it, a throne at the top, shadowed figure waiting. Before he could react, the vision collapsed his body into a single point, and he died screaming. He woke at the entrance, the death counter blazing 500. A purple-black aura now bled from his flesh, permanent.
I saw something at the top. I have a direction.
He pressed on, the blink now instinct. The tower's whispers acknowledged him, not as a victim, but as a contender. Floor 201, a silent memorial, walls engraved with the architect's grief, a chiseled inscription. "I built this place so that no one else would suffer my fate. But only the broken may become whole."
The tower wasn't forged by a god. It was forged by a mortal who lost everything.
Beneath the script, a Jutsu signature. He knew the same space-time fold that now lived in his bones. The floor groaned and split. From the cracks, spikes of distorted space. The architect's final trap impaled him. His own forbidden jutsu turned against him. He died understanding the weight of the creator's despair. He woke at the entrance, the death rune now counting 550. But his eyes held a new fire. The architect was a shinobi. A Hokage, maybe? The tower was his answer to a pain he couldn't escape.
Only the broken may become whole. I am broken. I will become whole.
He didn't understand the full truth yet, but for the first time, he felt linked to the builder. Floor 251. An army of the dead rose from stone tombs, their fighting styles branded with the Hokage's crest. They moved with the precision of comrades, each one a piece of the Hokage's past. Kazu's clones studied their patterns through a dozen deaths. He found a forbidden necromancy scroll, its ink still wet with old grief. It let him turn the dead against each other. One cadaver clutched a memory crystal. When Kazu touched it, a vision seared his mind, the Hokage on his knees, weeping over fallen comrades. The specter whispered, I'll make it right. Then the crystal shattered, and Kazu's own hollow heart shuddered.
He lost them all, just like the ghosts I carry. And still he built this place, seeking to undo what couldn't be undone.
The necromantic burst cost him 40 more deaths, but the floor fell silent. The runes in his eyes flickered to 600. He understood now. The tower's purpose, whatever it was born from a wound like his own.
If he was trying to fix something, maybe I am not just climbing to escape. Maybe I am climbing to finish what he started.
He didn't know what he had to set right, but he would reach the top and ask the Hokage himself. Floor 301 dissolved into a white void. The Hokage's consciousness pressed against his mind. A projection of the Hokage formed, its eyes ancient. Why do you seek the top? It asked.
To reach the top, to end this cycle, to become strong enough.
The projection's gaze hardened. You are not ready. Then it raised a hand. Light consumed him. He felt his body and soul obliterated in judgment. He woke at the entrance, gasping. The death rune flashed 700, but the question echoed. He sat in the respawn area for hours, delving into the cracked fragments of his soul.
A promise, to protect someone. I made a vow, before the tower took my memories.
He didn't remember who, only that he'd failed to protect them. That's why he entered the tower.
I climbed to become someone who can keep that promise. That is my answer.
Floor 351. A hall of shattered mirrors. From the glass, a doppelganger stepped forth. Kazu's face twisted with despair.
You'll never leave. That promise you cling to is just another lie you tell yourself. I am not that hollow shell anymore. I remember what I am fighting for.
They clashed. A storm of mirrored blows, each strike a memory of a death he'd endured. The doppelganger fought with all his buried resentment.
Kill me, and you kill the last whisper of hope for a life beyond this tower. Is that what you want? Then let it die. I'll become a monster if it means keeping that promise.
The blade pierced the mirror's heart. The doppelganger shattered like glass, and with it, the fragile innocence that still lingered in Kazu's soul. A cold weight settled in him. The runes on his arm blazed. 800. He had sacrificed the last soft part of himself.
No more doubt. No more longing. Only the climb.
He pressed onward. The tower's whispers now silent in the face of a climber who had killed his own reflection. Floor 401. A gate of gold, guarded by a 6-winged celestial. Its presence hummed with the weight of every forbidden jutsu Kazu had stolen. He attacked with all his arsenal. Flame, time, space, and bone. The guardian unmade him without effort. He returned at the entrance, analyzing the flaw in his timing. 100 deaths passed, each one a refinement. Then, for 3 heartbeats, he held the guardian in a deadlock. Its wings shivered. The celestial spoke without sound, its truth pressing into his skull. Only one before you reached this gate. He could not pass, and so became part of the tower.
He didn't fail. He became a part of it. If I want to pass, I have to give something just as absolute.
He died 98 more times, not to win, but to prepare. The runes on his arm burned. 999.
Skill alone won't open this gate. I'll offer everything. My body, my mind, my very existence.
The guardian waited, impassive, the gate beyond shimmering with the light of the top floor.
One more death. This time it will be different.
Kazu stepped into the guardian's light without raising his weapon. He offered his existence. The tower drank his last death, his body scattered into dust. The rune flared 1000. Silence. Then, from the void, the tower poured everything back. Every forbidden technique, every soul fragment, every drop of energy. He emerged at the entrance, but not as he was. A crown of chakra encircled his head. His eyes held the symbol of infinity.
I am not a climber anymore. I am the tower.
The floor stopped testing. Guardians knelt, traps disarmed. The tower obeyed its new god. The rune on his arm faded into the infinity mark. he had earned through 1,000 endings. Now he strode upward, not to survive, but to claim what the Hokage had left waiting at the summit.
1,000 deaths forged me into this. Now I will finally see why.
The light of the top floor blazed before him, silent and waiting. Kazu stepped into the golden throne room. A ghost sat upon the seat, translucent and weary, yet radiating the authority of a Hokage.
I am Takeshi, the last Hokage. I built this tower not to imprison, but to forge a weapon against the coming end.
You tested me, killed me, all of it. The deaths, the forbidden Jutsu, was to make me strong enough for something.
100 years ago, a god of destruction descended. I failed to stop it. My last act was to seal its return inside this tower, and hope someone like you would rise.
The vision seared into Kazu's mind. A world ending, and the tower the only seal keeping that horror at bay.
You died 1,000 times, and each death proved your resolve. The tower accepted you. Now, I will give you the last of my power, and with it, the duty I could not fulfill.
A god of destruction, and I am supposed to face it, alone. But isn't that exactly what the tower prepared me for?
Takeshi's ghost placed a hand on Kazu's head. A torrent of knowledge and chakra poured into him, the final forging.
You are now the key, the seal, and the blade. The world will never know your sacrifice, but you will be its savior.
I understand. 1,000 deaths gave me power. Now I'll use it to protect what remains.
The Hokage's power bled into him, the final piece of 1,000 death puzzle.
My forbidden art, Void Step, will let you walk between seals. Use it to leave this place and face what comes.
Void Step. A technique even the tower never offered. A gift from the man who built my hell.
Takeshi's form wavered, the ghost unraveling at the edges like a forgotten memory.
I failed them all. Do not fail the world I leave to you.
The light extinguished. The throne stood empty. Kazu was alone in the crumbling sanctum. The tower groaned. Centuries-old stones split as its purpose completed.
The tower is breaking. The seal that held the apocalypse is unraveling. I have to move.
He fled down the endless stairs, each step a floor he died on, now returning to dust at the base. The entrance exploded outward. He stepped into the crimson sky, the tower's ruin at his back. Behind him, the tower imploded into nothing, sealing its legend. Not a stone remained. The sky bled crimson. A rift split the clouds, and from its depths, a cosmic pressure descended.
The apocalypse is starting. I am the only one who knows what's coming.
His chakra erupted, a divine storm of violet and gold. The boy who entered had died 1,000 times. A god now stood.
1,000 deaths forged me to face this one fight.
He took the first step toward the rift, Void Step ready, the ghosts of the fallen at his back.
I will not let Takeshi's sacrifice be in vain.
After 1,000 deaths, he farmed every forbidden jutsu and became a god. The world had no idea it had just been saved.
Now I walk out the top, not of the tower, but of my own grave.
He crossed the barren plains, the cosmic rift devouring the horizon like a wound in the sky. The souls of fallen climbers drifted behind him, their whispers a steady hum of forgotten names. He thought of Takeshi, of the Hokage's final plea, and felt no regret, only peace.
They won't know my name, they won't know the price. That is my burden, and I accept it.
After 1,000 deaths, he farmed every forbidden jutsu and became a god walking to a battle the scrolls of history would never record.
I make peace with the silence. All that matters is the promise I made.
He tightened his grip on the spear, and the void shrieked in recognition of its mortal rival. One shinobi, 1,000 graves, one war the world would never sing about.
I am ready. For them, for everything.
Far from the rift, a village woke to dawn. Children laughed, unaware of the silent war fought in their name. Keisu stood on the edge of that light, a lone figure between the world And the end, he turned from the homes and faces he might have known toward the screaming rift. No parade, no name on a monument. Only the quiet duty of 1,000 deaths. The infinity in his eyes glowed softly. The price he'd paid, and the power he'd become. He died 1,000 times so that no one else would have to. Now he walked toward the final fight, a shadow Hokage, a god of sacrifice. The world went on, unknowing, but safe. One shinobi had died 1,000 times to become a god, and his story ends where the silence begins. After 1,000 deaths, he farmed every forbidden jutsu and became a god. He stepped into the rift, and the light swallowed him whole. The tear in the sky began to sew itself shut. The apocalypse averted by a single shinobi. No one cheered. No one remembered the name Kazu. He had died 1,000 times, each death a step toward a godhood he never wanted. But in the moment the last seal locked, he was not a god. He was the boy who had promised to protect, and that promise, carved into 1,000 deaths, was finally fulfilled. The tower had been a forge. He had been its anvil. Now, he would be the silence that guards the dawn. The world would never sing of him, but every breath drawn in the morning, light would be his legacy. After 1,000 deaths, he farmed every forbidden jutsu and became a god the world would never know.